Welcome to Sacred Exploration with Lisa Tremont Oda. Are you making the most of your experience as a spiritual being in physical form? Do you want to live with greater levels of peace and integrity? Today, Lisa and her guests will help you discover, uncover, and recover what's missing in yourself. Now, here's your host, Lisa Tremont Oda.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Sacred Exploration. I'm your host, Lisa Tremont Oda. And happy spring. Happy spring to everyone. This is a time for new beginnings. And so I think it's just so appropriate that Alexa is my guest today, talking about how we can all join what I call the eco-spiritual movement. It's an eco-conscious movement in which we can all learn how to improve upon our personal lives and at the same time, those of others and the planet. Welcome, Alexa, to the show.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And thank you for being so responsive to my invitation.
Yeah.
Well, Alexa is in addition to being an activist, an environmental activist, she's a musician, health coach, and writer. And really what I've learned from her in the time I've known her is that she's used her personal experiences and challenges to see that healing happens when we live in harmony with the planet, our bodies, and each other. She's doing a lot of things to bring forth her message creatively through her music, and she's working on her first book, which will be released in this year. I met Alexa at the San Francisco Wellness event at the San Francisco Opera Plaza. I invite you all to attend the Wednesday nights. They have a full vegan menu and then fabulous speakers like Alexa who enlighten us on all kinds of aspects of veganism, really. And what's interesting about what you're sharing with us, Alexa, and what inspires me so much is that it's really taking not necessarily the next step, but another step in this vegan path beyond what we eat or don't eat, and looking at all of our consumption patterns and what we can do to make a difference. I think I'm just going to go ahead and invite you and really just honor that you are sharing your personal story with us, if you so choose and as you so choose. And if you would share with us, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I have been on a journey for about 7 years now. It really started 7 years ago. I was 22, out of college, and a friend of mine who was an ER doctor in Manhattan, he showed me a video of, it was called Meet Your Meat, inside of a factory farm, and it just blew my mind. I just had no idea, like many of us. It was just a glimpse into one of the many corrupt systems that we are so deeply ingrained in. And I just needed to know more. And so that began my journey. And within like 3 months of becoming vegan, I quit meat and dairy and even coffee, eggs, just cold turkey. I was like, I don't want any part of this. And it's gotten so much easier. It was shocking at the beginning, but now it's amazing. But within 3 months, I quit my career that I had been focused on for all of college and changed my trajectory into wellness. And it really, what I've learned over the past 7 years is the more I clean up what I'm putting in my body and on my body, even like the people I'm spending time with and the places I'm, being around and in, I have learned to connect more with my own intuition, which is really what led me into my music career. And in turn has led me to want to teach all about this, because it's really made my life so much more powerful. I've found who I am. I've met my soulmate, and I just feel very aligned. And it all started with the truth about what I was putting into my body, and it's just grown from there.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing that. And, I do find in this show, Sacred Exploration, that so much of what it's about is utilizing our own power to make change in the world. And when you have true integrity, that's what happens, right? It manifests in all aspects of your life, and things just start to flow much more easily and beautifully and effortlessly. Yeah. So, well, Okay, well, let's start to talk about some of the dark side. I mean, shamanism, unfortunately, a lot of this program, again, is about shamanism and uncovering lost and hidden parts of ourselves, and also looking at the shadow side of things. And really, and we can't really bring ourselves into greater light if we don't know that there's some darkness to confront. There are some interesting facts that you've shared about plastics and consumption. For example, that this year we will add 14 billion pounds of trash to the ocean, and that in 1 week we use 10 billion plastic bags worldwide. What would you like to share with us about our consumption in that regard?
So I teach, I'm a health coach. I studied at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And so in terms of health, I definitely, and planetary and physical, spiritual health, I encourage people to reduce the amount of animals they're consuming. So that's kind of step one. And, some people aren't there yet. Some people are, but that's really the biggest action we can take directly to impact the planet. Living a plant-based lifestyle decreases our carbon footprint in half, saves, hundreds of thousands of gallons of water a year and so on. So that's really step one. And then there's a lot of people doing that who, that's kind of the bar that at least was my bar for many years, was like, oh, it's vegan. That means it's good for the planet. And that's when things began to unravel when I started digging deeper. And the book that I just finished is called A Beginner's Guide to Saving the Planet. And it's really what it is. It's a guide about all of our decisions we make. And the first chapter is on plastic, because I just started to see it everywhere. I don't even remember what sparked that next step. I think just farther along I got in the journey, it's like you keep asking questions like, what is this? Where did this come from? Where is it going when I'm done with it? And so that's where specifically single-use plastic is a problem, because again, it's used once. The average lifespan of plastic is less than a year. And it takes 500 to 1,000 years for plastic to break down. And it never truly breaks down. It creates microparticles that enter our food system, at every level in the oceans and so on. So the biggest, the biggest things are like single use. So buying, getting a water bottle and things like that. It seems so simple, but yet you look around and you see how much plastic is used and just used once and tossed away.
Right. And that's the thing, like we can start off by looking at what already exists on the planet. I mean, there's already so much stuff. And how do we manage that? Like before we even make our decisions about what to buy, if to buy in the future, we can look at what we have. And here's an example that I used. This is an old spaghetti jar, glass jar that now holds steel cut oats. And this is an old, like an artichoke jar that uses red quinoa. So I love doing this. I love using my glass jars. And then the goal would be to not even have to buy glass jars again, because I'm making my homemade tomato sauce and putting it in my existing glass jars, right?
Yes, exactly.
So reusing and recycling would be like a first major step, I would imagine.
Yes. And that is like across the board with everything we use. I mean, even electronics now, I don't really buy anything new. I try, like now there's Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, even furniture, there's thrift shops. I mean, with any item you could want, like you said, it pretty much exists on the planet already. And so buying used is like the best step, and then reusing, what you already have.
So like with plastics, though, since already so much exists, when we recycle them, is there something to be said for recycling that plastic and then reusing it for our water bottles again? I mean, or is that not exactly how it's working?
I think the problem is that it's like some astonishing number, like 80% of plastics are not recycled. So yes, recycle it if you don't need it. Definitely.
Wow.
Like I just throw everything in the recycling, to be honest. I don't even throw anything to landfill, because especially in San Francisco, their facility is amazing and they can pretty much recycle all plastic. So I think one tip would be, like I go home to my family, and the standard garbage can in your kitchen, you have a huge trash bin and a small recycling bin. And so we swap that, and we have a giant recycling bin and we have a tiny little trash can. So little shifts that just change our habits is like, okay, like let's try recycling or donating before we throw it in the trash.
Okay, yeah, I love it. I just had that conversation with my family this morning, inspired by having you as my guest. Well, we don't really buy that much plastic bottles, but we do have like a case, and it's like, no more. Absolutely not. We use a distiller. I use glass containers to jugs, actually empty glass apple juice jugs that I fill with water. And then, of course, are reusable. But the plastic bottle, the message was, don't use those up. We'll use them as backup, but we're not buying any more. You know?
Right. Those are good for like your earthquake kit.
Exactly.
But we really don't need.
Exactly.
I mean, single-use plastic bottles. We use 2.5 million hourly in America alone, water bottles. So I actually have
2.5 million hourly.
Yeah.
So during the time of this show, 2.5 million plastic bottles are being used.
Yep. In America. It gives me
the chills, actually.
I know. It's horrible. Actually, a friend of mine created, like, I love San Francisco. She started this company, and for those of you who can see me, I have it here, but it's a reusable water bottle that's built into a purse. So it's literally like stays in the purse, and you can zip water right out of it. So that's an amazing tool for specifically for women who with water on the go. It's literally built into my bag if you don't want to carry around a water bottle with you, because I was always that girl. So there's resources out there. It's really just finding the system that works for you. I bring jars with me everywhere I go. I'm really trying to get better at like not getting takeout, or if I have, leftovers, putting it in my jar. And companies love when you show up with a smoothie cup, like your own cup. You always get more smoothie too. I've learned.
That's good.
They don't want to waste it either. Yeah, no, it is. I bring my straw with me. I have a little metal straw everywhere I go. So getting in the habit of saying no to plastic out, because unfortunately our society, they'll give it to you. If you don't say no, you're going to get, you're going to get the cup or you're going to get the straw. So
that's right.
Really asking, and people are becoming more receptive to it.
Right. And ideally there'll be more things in place to reward that kind of behavior.
Right.
But really it should be our own reward for ourselves, like the internal knowing that we're making a difference. And there was a quote about by Anne Frank that you had shared at the meeting the other night. I'm trying to find it here.
I believe it was, what was it? I can actually find it. Let's see. Oh, it was, how wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world.
That's it. That's so nice.
Yeah.
So right now, right. And she was under such dark circumstances, and yet to have such a positive attitude and to feel so empowered that she could still joyfully make a difference.
Right.
Like, I mean, that's what's so amazing. And we are under dark circumstances. We really are. And the time to act is now. And we can all make a difference. I love working with the word responsibility, right? Because I feel like we have a responsibility to the planet, if not to ourselves, which hopefully people would feel a responsibility to themselves, because we all are that valuable. But if you can't do it for yourself, do it for the planet, right? Do it for something greater than ourselves, something that can't speak for themselves. And we do actually have an ability to respond. And you're, giving us some tips and ideas of ways that we can respond to the, just the toxic waste that's already present on the planet and how we manage it. Well, I can tell our time is going to go quickly. We are going to be taking a break just shortly here. Thank you for all of those who are listening to us on voiceamerica.com's empowerment channel. If you can, join us on Facebook Live, because during the break, we're going to share some more little things that you can do. All right. So with that, we will go to break. I'm Lisa Tremont Ota. I'm speaking with my guest, Alexa Jesse, today about how to be an eco-conscious consumer. And we will be right back.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
We have relationships with people in our lives, but arguably our relationship with food is the most intimate, dynamic, and enduring of them all. You can nourish your relationship with food and the planet Purchase your copy of The Sacred Art of Eating, Healing Our Relationship with Food, written by Lisa Tremont Oda. A registered dietitian, nutritionist, and shamanic soul coach, Lisa can help you heal your relationship with food. The Sacred Art of Eating is available on Amazon.com, sacredexploration.com, and ImperfectlyVegan.com. Do you remember your dreams? Not exploring your dream life is like receiving a gift but not opening it. Join Lisa Tremont Oda and Lisa Ferrer this April for an interactive workshop series that will help make your goals and dreams become results in your business and personal life. To register or to find out more, call 925-497-2529 or email sacredexploration@gmail.com. Space is limited in this highly interactive workshop series, so call today and learn how you can make your dreams come true. That's 925-497-2529 or email sacredexploration@gmail.com.
Have you friended us on Facebook yet? Why not? Just go to facebook.com/Voice America or search for the keywords Voice America. Once you are part of our Facebook network, you'll receive daily messages about what's happening with our shows, this week's featured guests, and new happenings at the Voice America Talk Radio Network. And you can add your voice to the always active discussions on our timeline. Just go to facebook.com/Voice America or search for Voice America.
You are listening to Sacred Exploration. To reach Lisa or her guest today, please call into 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. You may also send an email to sacredexploration@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Sacred Exploration. I'm your host, Lisa Tremont Oda, and I'm speaking with Alexa Jesse, who is a young, vital, beautiful eco activist. And during the break on Facebook Live, we were talking a little bit about her music. And I was sharing that, well, she's at 29 years old. She's come out of her solar return, and she has a very clear path of who she is. It's not always to find out who we are. And it sounds like you've done a real good job of that. And as you said, so much of that came as a result of cleaning up your own life and your own habits. Yeah.
100% is related to living in alignment with my values and in alignment with the planet, and just looking at food as a means for health and vitality instead of like number on the scale, which is something I used to struggle with before I went on this journey.
Right. I feel like we're having a lot of resonating. Even before the radio show tonight, I had gardeners and construction going on. She's like, there's people drilling pipes outside her place. And I arrived a lot of this through food and nutrition as well. And that's my background as a registered dietitian nutritionist. And if anyone's interested, you can look for my book, The Sacred Art of Eating. But a lot of it is that the entry point can be food, because first and foremost, that's what we're dependent upon for life. And the choices we make in regard to what we actually put into our mouth is so significant for ourselves and for the planet. And then it extends out when we become more of greater integrity. It's like we clear the channels for our authenticity to shine. And I think I heard you say too that, well, your talk is awaken the instincts, that your intuition also developed as you cleaned up. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. And also through, meditation and other holistic practices, massage, just like really feeling your body, you get to really know it. And when it knows something, you know what that is. And that knowing is something that we all have. It's the animal in us.
Right.
And unfortunately, like the junk food and the advertising and the pharmaceuticals, they just really cloud our own innate wisdom. And so that's, like you said, I agree that I think food is a great place to start, because it's just the easiest. It's like, look at what you're eating, and
well, we have to eat too. Like, I mean, we can choose to not do certain things, even including smoking cigarettes or having certain purchasing habits, but we all have to eat in order to live. Like, there's no choice about it if you want to live. So it's and we have a lifetime of practice. So it can be a very good reminder throughout the day to be more conscious. We talked about working with objects, things that are already within our life. One of those is our clothing. So taking the vegan movement beyond what we choose to eat or not eat is what we choose to wear. Recently, Direct Action Everywhere and PETA had a rally in San Francisco, and it was celebrating that certain clothing designers were no longer going to be using furs. And I was motivated by their action and took some of my own clothes, which aren't even real fur, but fake fur and even animal print. And I don't know, something about it. I wanted to actually pass that along too. Now somebody's going to get it. So it's not like it's leaving the world, but we all take the action that's right for us at the time and push ourselves a little bit further. But what can you share with us about textiles and clothing?
Textiles for me is interesting because I used to be a huge shopper, specifically bargain shopper. I loved Forever 21 and Express, and I just never thought about where my clothes were coming from. I bought really cheap clothing, and I went through them fast. I would get rid of stuff every year, even with tags on it. And so this was a more recent, I would say in the past 2 years, a shift that I'm really focusing on. I did a challenge Nothing New November, and that was really awesome. I just realized even still what we buy new. So the clothing industry, and writing my book, I learned a lot about it, and it's becoming one of the biggest contributors to waste now in the world. We throw away 11 million tons of clothing every year just in the US, and only 15% of clothing is actually recycled when 95% could be recycled. So that's a problem. And there's toxic dyes and chemicals in the clothing that leaches into the soil and into the air, into our food supply, as well as clothing breaks down. So we want to keep clothing out of landfills and out of our oceans. And then, of course, the factory conditions behind clothing industry is a whole nother conversation, but it's horrible. And so I've really been devoted to thrift shopping, which I absolutely love. It's a mindset shift. And what's interesting is everybody, at least I think, perceives this healthy vegan organic lifestyle as so expensive. When I look at the amount of money that I don't spend on clothing anymore, I feel like that offsets any other expenses I spend on superfood or massage or whatever. So also, obviously we go through, trends, and we go through cycles. And if you want to get rid of clothing, what I love is in my city, San Francisco, there are clothing swaps, but also I'll gift clothing to my cleaning woman or to a friend or somebody who needs it and wants it, instead of just dropping it off at a clothing bin. Because unfortunately, you don't really know. I mean, I think that's still better than throwing it in the trash. But again, recycling and reusing, that's really using what we have. Just about
everything could be used for something.
Yeah. And even cutting up old t-shirts into rags instead of buying rags. There's some simple things. And I mentioned at my talk that I saw this in the Zero Waste Vegan group on Facebook. This one girl shredded her t-shirts and made t-shirt rope and made a macrame plant hanger. That is so freaking awesome. I love that creativity and that innovation. And there are companies
That's where the
there.
art comes in. I think we both have kind of homemade art behind us. Right.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's getting creative and remembering we're bred to be consumers, but we're creators. We're so smart and powerful and intelligent creatures. That's why we are human beings. And it's kind of not letting people tell us what to buy, really questioning, do I actually need this shirt right
now?
Well,
we were talking on break too, we both have similar kind of mantras that we tell ourselves. Mine recently has been, I have everything I need. And it's so fascinating how that comes to play, whether it's I need help with something or something physical, and then it shows up, but I already have it. Right. And I'm older than you are, so I've actually acquired more clothing over time than I imagine you have. And I'm and I've been able to maintain my physical form pretty consistently. So most things fit.
That's great.
And it's wow. Yeah. I just wear what I have. And Yeah, and if I am ready to pass something along, pass it along to others, and that feels great. Now, one of the other things I've discovered recently, and that I purchased at the San Francisco Veg Fest, so it was a purchase of a cork purse, and I love it instead of a leather purse, and it's so soft and durable. So there's also that type of avenue if we are getting something else. And I suppose then we're supporting the artist who's using the cork to produce this item, right? So that feels a little better.
That was exactly where I was going to go. Like, I'm not perfect. We buy new things. It's just the society we live in. But I'm doing a giveaway actually on Instagram. I just hit a little over 2,000 followers, and I'm doing a giveaway of all sustainable, conscious brands, a little goodie bag. And that's really what I've been researching actually, are companies that I want to support. And there's like these women on Etsy making bamboo utensil holders and like napkins out of recycled jeans. And it's just so amazing what people are doing. So if I'm going to buy something new, it's like support local. And because then it comes around, like, how do you think local businesses, like if you want to have your own local business, support another local business. And that's how we can all support our community. And usually the products are better for you, better for the planet, and just better all around.
Well, they usually are. But one thing I've learned too, that, for example, many vegan-minded people will want to buy what's called vegan leather. But apparently that's maybe not all the eco-conscious deal where we thought it was cracked up to be. Yeah? Yes.
Well, with any purchase, my big thing is like research. Like, email the company and ask what is this product made out of. And a lot of times vegan leather it's petroleum based. It's just plastic, like made into a shoe or a bag, and they don't last very long. So that's where it's really about being a conscious consumer and questioning these companies and demanding better practices. And I love emailing a company and saying, like, what is this made out of? And where was this made? I was recently, my boyfriend and I got a new mattress, and none of them, we found one amazing company that has vegan mattress. Otherwise they were using wool, a lot of them, and I asked one of them, like, okay, like maybe there's some sort of sustainable wool. I mean, I'm vegan. I don't use animal products, but I don't know about the wool industry. I know there's horrible practices, but anyway, they couldn't even tell me like a farm where it was coming from. And that to me was just like a red flag. It doesn't mean it was necessarily bad, but if they don't know, usually the companies who are really working to do the right thing for the planet and the animals and the workers, they're going to tell you on their front page. And you can.
So what kind of mattress did you find?
Now I'll have to
did you
email you all. Yes, we have our mattress.
Okay, good.
I felt very good about. Now I feel bad. I don't remember the company. I'll let you know.
Well, we'll be talking because, as I mentioned, Sacred Exploration is starting to accept sponsors.
Oh,
and so
yes,
I obviously want to find very aligned, eco-friendly sponsors. So we'll chat soon more about that for sure.
Yeah, sounds great.
So my niece too, she's very much into going to the thrift shops and finding clothing and putting together these super unique outfits, right? I mean, much more unique than shopping at some of the brand name stores out there.
That's actually one of my favorite things about thrift shopping. You don't think about it. It's very original.
Right. And, this might be a good time too. I like to bring up what I call an imperfectly vegan moment within the show. And the idea is to live a vegan life, but to understand that we're human and to not, throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, if something happens and it's not vegan, or you already got these clothes that aren't vegan and you want to wear it, but, still move forward and make more conscious choices moving forward. Because otherwise, we want to welcome as many people as possible into the movement. And how does that resonate?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I could not agree more. I think it actually hurts the vegan community. I think we have a reputation of being, self-righteous and closed, when really it's like baby steps. Meatless Monday is such an amazing movement, and there's so many animals and water, is saved in just one day, one meal. So I think 100%, like, nobody's perfect, and just one step at a time.
Right. Some people I know, like you say, kind of the extreme vegans will downplay the meatless Mondays as not being enough. And, but it is a starting place for people where they can identify and, sometimes then there'll be a big shift that happens. Like maybe it's a slow entry, but then something major will happen. And kind of like you, I find that the younger people, one of the most impactful things they can do is to visit a factory farm or to watch a documentary. And is there a documentary that just came out about zero waste or?
I actually haven't seen that one.
Okay.
What the Health is an amazing one. It's the sister of Cowspiracy, and those two are like amazing. It's environment, health, but it really, everyone has their different motivation. And actually, I have a course I'm about to launch, and one of the first parts of the course is about finding your motivation. And it's like, is it weight loss, but is it deeper than weight loss? Like what really will motivate you to make a change that will stick? And sometimes for people, it is the lives of animals, and that's great. Sometimes it's your health or it's the planet, and finding that motivation that you can always like go back to when, like you said, you have an imperfect moment or you get a little off the path. It's like, okay, why am I doing this? Animals. Okay, I'm still doing this,
And the motivation
every
can
decision,
change.
like every lifestyle choice we make. Yes, exactly. Definitely. And it does. It totally changes.
Well, at least in my generation, yours did. Yours started with animals, right?
Yeah,
and then mine evolved to that. Mine started for health reasons. I was more naive at your age, and you were more conscious, I believe, because that would be the more conscious state, is to be thinking of other, I think. But it changes for people at different times. The entry point could be health, and then it could evolve to animal activism, or it could be the animals that bring you in. And then as you get older, you realize for health reasons, for everybody, for the communities, we need to make different choices. Speaking of, we've got just a few minutes till break again, but in terms of food, since we all do eat, and even those vegans, palm oil, there's a lot to be said about that, huh?
Yeah, so that's another chapter in my book that has been eye-opening when I was researching. It's unhealthy in food. So you'll find it in processed foods like chips and peanut butter. It is, I'm sure as a nutritionist, it's high in saturated fat.
Right. But hopefully it's not in the peanut butter people buy. What you want to buy is the old-fashioned kind, where the oil's on the top, and then you just turn it upside, or make your own. Go to Whole Foods, right?
Yeah.
Would they let you use your own container at Whole Foods, or you have to use their plastic one?
Oh no, I bring my jar.
Really, and they'll just weigh it out that way?
Yeah, you just tear your jar. I bring my jars always to Rainbow Grocery or Whole Foods, and you can definitely, they have almond butter and peanut butter. And
like give your own olives instead of using their plastic container.
Really? Yeah, I have olives, and my old. God, it was such an old container. I don't even know what was in it originally, but yes, I bring all my own containers. And that's also like, it's a spectrum on the path. I'm at that point. And
that's exciting to me. I didn't really think you could do that. Like a lot of times for health reasons, they say you have to use their own containers, but I guess they just weigh it out. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. I think it's so funny when it's like for health reasons, I don't know. I guess.
You're the one taking it home to eat it.
Yeah, no, but it's true. You never know. But yeah, in terms of palm oil, where it came, it's been coming.
Well, you know what? I think I'll just kind of stop you there, because we are going to go to break soon. We'll come back to the palm oil, but with this idea, what I'm going to throw out is, I love that idea. That's going to be one of my new things after the show, is to bring my own containers for my peanut butter and my olives at Whole Foods. That's awesome. And I would like, for those of you watching us on Facebook Live, to go ahead and, if there's one thing that you're inspired to do differently moving forward, go ahead and post it on our Sacred Exploration Radio group. And you'll probably inspire somebody else to do something like that. So maybe it's to, share your used clothes with somebody else, or turn them into rags, or create an art piece, whatever it is. Feel free to share with us again on Sacred Exploration Radio. And, I'm having a lot of fun here with you, Alexa, we will be taking a break. Those of you watching us on Facebook Live, stay tuned, and we'll be right back. I'm your host, Lisa Tremont Oda.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
We have relationships with people in our lives, but arguably our relationship with food is the most intimate, dynamic, and enduring of them all. You can nourish your relationship with food and the planet Purchase your copy of The Sacred Art of Eating, Healing Our Relationship with Food, written by Lisa Tremont Oda. A registered dietitian, nutritionist, and shamanic soul coach, Lisa can help you heal your relationship with food. The Sacred Art of Eating is available on Amazon.com, sacredexploration.com, and ImperfectlyVegan.com. Do you remember your dreams? Not exploring your dream life is like receiving a gift but not opening it. Join Lisa Tremont Oda and Lisa Ferrer this April for an interactive workshop series that will help make your goals and dreams become results in your business and personal life. To register or to find out more, call 925-497-2529 or email sacredexploration@gmail.com. Space is limited in this highly interactive workshop series, so call today and learn how you can make your dreams come true. That's 925-497-2529 or email sacredexploration@gmail.com.
Have you friended us on Facebook yet? Why not? Just go to facebook.com/Voice America or search for the keywords Voice America. Once you are part of our Facebook network, you'll receive daily messages about what's happening with our shows, this week's featured guests, and new happenings at the Voice America Talk Radio Network. And you can add your voice to the always active discussions on our timeline. Just go to facebook.com/Voice America or search for Voice America.
You are listening to Sacred Exploration. To reach Lisa or her guest today, please call into 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. You may also send an email to sacredexploration@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Lisa Tremont Ota, and you are listening to Sacred Exploration. I'm here with my guest, eco-activist Alexa Jesse. And over break, we were talking about do-it-yourself toothpaste, which was going to be something for the Facebook Live, but maybe you can re-encapsulate it because it's so cool what you can do.
Yeah, it's really simple. And if you follow me on Instagram, I actually have a video, but it's so simple. Baking soda and coconut oil, I buy in bulk. Fractionated coconut oil is liquid, and then some essential oils, and mix it up to the consistency of your liking. And
so is there an approximate
sweetener.
Ratio? I know you said you kind of feel it out in terms of proportions, but
you want it to be pasty. So
okay.
It's going to be more of the baking soda and a little bit of oil, but the baking soda does have a bit of a salty taste. So the first time I tried it, I was like, wait, is that right? Some people taste it and some people don't really taste the saltiness, but adding the sweetener like stevia or xylitol and some peppermint oil, it's tasty and it's easy.
Great. And those essential oils, you can go to sacredexploration.com and there is a tab for doTERRA. Like you might have had one there. doTERRA is such a great product. Many of the shamans use their product. They have the fractionated coconut oil as well.
Yes, I'm also a doTERRA affiliate as well as Young Living. I tried a bunch of essential oil companies, and I love the two of them. They're both definitely the best quality that I've tried. Like the peppermint is just so good and so many uses. So can be used in all different areas of life.
Absolutely. Cleaning agents, right?
Yeah.
Some of them for that. Okay. Well, let's return back in our last segment here to discussion of palm oil.
Yes. So, again, palm oil was also like a newer find for me in researching. Like I said, I've been vegan for 7 years. And so all of my shampoos and conditioners are vegan and, not tested on animals and organic. But when doing my research, I realized that palm oil actually has a lot of other names that it can be called. Glycerin is one, stearic acid. There's a ton. If you just Google it, you can see like what palm oil is also known as, but it's really just used as a filler so that all size companies can make products cheaper. They're not, when you ingest them, they're not good for your health. They're high in saturated fats. It's connected to, heart disease and high cholesterol, but it's really just detrimental to the planet because 60 to 80% of palm oil production is not legal. And this is really affecting Indonesia and Malaysia specifically. They are just burning down rainforests, which is hurting the orangutan population the most, but also elephants and tigers. And the orangutans are expected to be extinct in the next 5 to 20 years, like because of palm oil. So that's really, it's the angle that for me, that palm oil, that I don't want to support it anymore. There are some brands that say there's like a, sustainable palm, but if I can avoid it, I don't really trust. I'm a little bit, hesitant, but again, it's doing your research, asking questions, reading labels, because a lot, this like less ingredients, the better with food, with cosmetics, hair, products, really everything. But the numbers are astonishing. And my boyfriend is actually an artist and a visual artist. He did a piece where you can look this up yourself on Google Maps. You can look at these rainforests, and they're just burning constantly. 300 football fields of rainforest an hour is cleared.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it's just, it's a very unregulated industry, and it's huge in the processed foods industry, as well as like any cosmetic.
Yeah, I would think that was the primary industry, would be the food industry. But what are some of the other primary industries using palm?
Yeah, potato chips and even like soda, but mostly snack foods. And
yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, if you're living an imperfectly vegan lifestyle and living close to the earth, like an eco-centered diet, you're not going to really be consuming palm oil anyway. I mean, the more simple we come, the more helpful our diet and the less injurious to the planet.
Right. Well, that's why this was eye-opening, is because all of my vegan products, my shampoo and conditioner and makeup brand that were like touted as organic and, great, all contain palm under another name. And that's where I was like, crap, sorry, I need to do more research. And unfortunately, like I haven't even found a makeup brand in the US that doesn't use palm oil. So I'm like, I guess I'm going really natural. No makeup.
Well, you are beautiful, so you can pull that off. No problem with that. Yeah.
Well, or there's places where you make sacrifices, and, I'm trying my best in other areas. And if I support, or I challenge my makeup company and say, like, please don't use palm. If all of us say that, I like to use the example of, 5 years ago, if you're vegan out there listening, you'll resonate with this, but there was no soy milk or almond milk anywhere except for Starbucks. They were the only place that had non-dairy milk for tea or coffee. And I used to go into every Dunkin' Donuts I saw. I was like, do you have soy milk? Do you have soy milk?
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And they never did. And now, every cafe in California better have soy milk, almond milk, and coconut milk. Or
the only problem is I think that almond milk is bringing harm to the bee population.
Interesting. Well, that's another thing. I make my own cashew milk now. So that's my favorite, but it's more the power of demand. Like us as consumers, we think the corporations have all the power, but we control everything. So we just got to use our voices.
Exactly. That's that individual responsibility
yes,
that we all have,
yep.
Right? We all have the ability to respond and make new choices. I'm excited to make some new choices. I mean, it can be rather contagious too, right? When you recognize that you have everything you need. And then if you don't think you have everything you need, you just go a little deeper and ask why that is. And, maybe you do need something, but it's amazing how things will show up as well, right?
It's so true.
Yeah. I was looking, I've got my guest lines up for, about a month ahead, but there was one spot and then I came upon you and it was like, wow, I have everything I need. You're just such a perfect fit. Great. Why don't we're nearing the time. We're not quite there yet, but just to make sure we get, everything that you do in, why don't you share with us the way that people can best reach you and stay tuned to your projects that are coming up.
Thank you. So, I am on social media. I love Instagram. It's just at Alexa Jesse, AlexaJesse. I also have a separate Instagram account for music and more creative stuff, which is Music by Alexa J. But I also created a web form for anybody who's listening to this. It's on my website, alexajesse.com/sacred exploration. And if you sign up for my mailing list through there, you'll get a free guide that I've created to plant-based grocery shopping. So it's really holistic, like whole foods that I don't, every time I go shopping, those are my staples. But in addition to that, soon you'll get an email with a promo code. I have an online course that's being launched in the next couple weeks, and you'll be the first to know about it. And that's going to be a 4-week course all about helping you transition to a holistic diet, letting go of old patterns and behaviors. And it's going to be 4 master classes, 4 weeks. I'm going to be there to support you the whole time. And hopefully we'll get a really amazing group of like-minded people to go on this journey together. And I'm hoping to take you on what took me 7 years, at least the beginning of that journey, in a month, and really get you on a sustainable path. Like, I call it almost the anti-dieting program. It's like, quit the scale, quit dieting, and just like get in touch with your body and the planet. So it's called Shed Your Skin, and I'll be launching that in the next couple weeks.
Transformation.
Yeah.
So again, that was to go onto your website to sign up for that?
Yes. So it's alexajesse.com/sacred exploration. And if you explore my site, I also have a partners page. So I have a list of sustainable companies that I support. There's like bamboo toilet paper company, and my friend's company who makes these bags, Smith and Star. And I have all sorts of promo codes. Thrive Market's on there. If you don't know about it, they have amazing, I don't know. Do you know about Thrive Market? It's all organic, like food, and it's an online store, but I get a lot of bulk, like my bulk coconut oil from there. So if you're just need some resources, there's a lot on my website.
There sure is. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you for offering our listeners that special opportunity that you have to offer. All right. Well, as we wind down, I'm curious to ask about people in your generation. I mean, are you finding that most people in their 20s, 30s are eco-conscious? Or, I mean, you're in San Francisco like I am, so we're heavily biased.
Yes.
But I'm just kind of curious more about your generation. To me, it feels like so many are. But then again, when I look at the behaviors, I realize that's not necessarily the case. But you're more in touch with that group, and I'm curious.
You know, what's so interesting is I've found, like, when I first became vegan, I was very angry and pushy, and people did not respond to that. And the more that I've just become who I am and just created this lifestyle that I'm aligned with, and I just share it because I want to share it, people are so responsive when they hear the facts about plastic. And again, it's like, some people, there's just still disconnects, like the zero waste movement, for example. They're so proactive about reducing waste, but they will eat animals, and there's just some disconnects. So I think that's what I'm seeing in my generation. A lot of people are plant-based, but they're not ready to completely not eat animals. Which, you know what, like, it's better than nothing. I kind of think I want to challenge people a little bit more. It's like, why can't you stop? It's really not that hard. There's more work to be done there. So.
Well, that's where you have to really go into the value system. And one something that I practice a lot is this idea of what do you want most? And so when I was younger and I was struggling with food issues myself, it was like, what do I want most? To, kind of indulge myself and pig out tonight and wake up feeling behind the 8 ball in the morning, or to forego that now somehow and wake up feeling lighter and ready to greet the day. And so, with a lot of these things, we have to kind of decide what is it that we really want most. And a sense of integrity is worth a lot. And I think sometimes when making these decisions, like, something might be in front of us and maybe it even smells good. I mean, to me, the smell of animal foods really doesn't smell good anymore. It's like, but like, if there is something that smells good, I'm sure there are occasions, it's like, well, do I really want to allow myself indulge in that for this short period of time? Or do I want to feel afterwards a greater sense of integrity? And then also knowing that I haven't put that into my body, all the energetics that consumed.
Right. Well, that's where, for me, the truth is so empowering, because I used to be on all of the diets. I was on Weight Watchers, and I lost 30 pounds on Weight Watchers at one point, and I still wasn't happy. I still didn't love myself. I was scared I would gain the weight back. And so I wasn't thinking outside of myself. And once I started learning the truth about food and the animals, like, when I saw the pizza, it was this amazing empowerment, because I was like, wow, I don't even want it. Right. And then, of course, now there's like healthy vegan pizza that I want. But that's what's so amazing. Like, the vegan food nowadays that you can make yourself, it's so accessible. And I know in San Francisco and in California even more. But there's just, plants are so abundant and delicious and malleable. So I just think we need to get creative in terms of eating. but it's a journey, and we need to be gentle with ourselves and take whatever steps we're ready to take. Because if we do it because of someone else, it's never going to be sustainable.
Right. Practice. The other thing is talking about entertainment that we consume and our activities. That's another form of consumption. So we buy tickets to take a train versus riding a bike, or we share a little. We've got just a few minutes left, so maybe you could just share a little bit about that.
Yeah. Public transportation, is a great one. But in terms of consumption, like we don't even have cable anymore. I find it draining, the advertising. Anytime I'm in a bar and there's sports on, like I used to actually work in the sports industry. I was an athlete growing up, and I love sports. I'm still an athlete. I don't play anymore, but it's just the culture, the corporateness around certain industries that really take it away for me. They're just, if you watch the Super Bowl, every ad is for meat, fast food, and pharmaceuticals. And so this whole process to me is like unconditioning from the moment we're born. And that's why it doesn't happen overnight, because we've been.
Yeah, I'm just barely trying to hold on and not run out into the forest
for our whole lives. So it's just deciding, like you said, sorry, what was that?
Well, I was just saying, for me, I'm just like barely holding on. Like I'm so ready to just go live out in the woods and in the forest. And, there's that part of me. That's the part of ourselves. There is a very big part of me that just wants to do that. And like, even with the radio show and social media, just barely kind of trying to hold on to it and making that balance. But, that's the thing, is we all have to kind of figure out the balance for ourselves, but learn from each other and, really contemplate these things.
Yeah.
So, wow. Well, this was a beautiful sharing. You've done a lot of great work. You are just really walking your talk and living an aligned life. And I just wish you all the best. And
thank you.
I'm happy to have met you, and we'll be in touch around so much of this.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for having me, and I hope to chat with you soon.
Oh, you will. Absolutely. Well, thank you to all of our listeners and for joining us here on Sacred Exploration Radio. I really can feel the group growing, and, we're really creating action for the better here. So stay tuned with us. I've got some amazing guests coming up in the weeks ahead. And I wish you all the best as we enter spring and this time of new beginnings. I'm Lisa Tremont Ota, and thank you for joining me on our Sacred Exploration.
Thank you so much for tuning in today for Sacred Exploration with Lisa Tremont Ota. Be sure to listen to our program again next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time and 5 p.m. Pacific Time, or anytime on demand on the Voice America Empowerment Channel. Enjoy your week.